Hey guys, what's up? It's Savannah. Welcome back to another episode of My Thoughts Exactly. Thank you guys so much for joining me here today. I am so happy that you are here. Happy Friday, you guys. I hope that you've had a great week. And if you haven't, guess what? It's Friday. We made it to the weekend. You did it. We're here. Happy Friday, you guys. I hope you all have been having a great week. I definitely am. The weather is doing its thing. I know I always give you guys like the weekly weather report. Spring and summer is here. We are in full effect. And I just need to put you guys on for a second. I know this is so random, but something that's really been making my week more enjoyable is my coffee lately. And this is not an ad. This is not a sponsor. I actually just wanted to put you guys onto this because I'm obsessed. I am such an iced coffee girly through and through. I don't care if it's -5 degrees outside. You will find an iced coffee in my hand. And lately, I just have been wanting to find a way to like have better iced coffee at home. And so I found these cups on Amazon. I'll put them in my storefront, but they look like plastic. They feel like plastic, but they're not plastic. And I think if you have iced coffee, we can all agree that it just tastes better in a cup like this. If you're watching me on YouTube, then you can see what I'm holding up right now. And it literally looks like a plastic cup, and I use my metal straw, but it says on it, I'm not plastic. I found these on Amazon, and I'm actually obsessed with them because they make drinking iced coffee so much more enjoyable. And I'm not spending money like going out and getting coffee every morning, like going and getting a little iced coffee. Like I get to just make it at home, and it's so nice. And so it's 100% compostable, and it's plant-based, and I don't know, it's eco-friendly. It's not plastic. We're doing right by the earth, and it's just a great iced coffee. But just wanted to throw that out there. I will put these on my storefront if that's something that you're interested in, because I couldn't just like gatekeep that, because I know spring and summer's coming around, or summer's rolling around. We're already in spring, and the iced coffee is not, it needs to be, we need it here. So I wanted to share that with you guys just in case you were like me and love a good iced coffee, iced drink. But anyways, let's move on. I am so excited about today's episode because we have not done this on My Thoughts Exactly before. We have talked a lot about your guys' unpopular opinions. We've done a Q&A before, but I've never answered your assumptions about me. And I am so curious to know what you guys think, because I know I did this once before on YouTube. This had to have been like 4 or 5 years ago, and we did this as a YouTube episode, and it was really funny to watch and like go through, and I really enjoyed doing it. But I'm really curious to know what you guys, as watching me as a 27-year-old now, think, rather than watching me as like a 22-year-old. I'm very curious to know what you guys think. So I asked you guys on the podcast Instagram, which if you are not following it, what are you doing? It is just at My Thoughts Exactly podcast. I say this all the time. I'm a broken record, but definitely go and check it out and hit that follow button if you want to keep up to date and be involved in like all of the things that we do. We do so many segments where I ask you guys your opinions, your questions, what would Sav do, all of the things. So definitely keep up with the My Thoughts Exactly Instagram page, because that's where all of it goes. That's where it all stems from. And it's just really, that's where I keep you guys updated. I like to say that it's like my private story. You know how like on Snapchat or on like Instagram, you'll have your close friends story. That literally is what My Thoughts Exactly's Instagram is to me. I love to just like, I don't know, chit chat with you guys on there. So I asked you guys yesterday to put in some of your assumptions about me, and you definitely did. Some of you put like a bunch at once, and I thought that was really funny because it just means that you have a lot of opinions about me, and I'm very curious to know what they are. I have not read them yet, but I am going to go through them right now. Okay, number one, let's just jump. Okay, I'm like scanning over them. You guys definitely did not hold back, but let's just jump right on into it. First one is that you always seem so happy, so I assume you aren't as happy as you seem. Okay, let's talk about it. I definitely am at the happiest point that I ever have been in my life. Do I have moments? Do I have days? Do I feel very overwhelmed at times? Yes, but the happiness that you're seeing is genuine, and that makes me happy to say that. And if you're watching me, I feel like myself smiling even when I say that, because I didn't ever really think that it was possible. Not that I didn't think it was possible to be happy, but I just never imagined feeling so content in my life. I'm so grateful for where I'm at in my life. I'm so blessed to like be in this position that I'm in, just all the way around in every facet. You know, I have an amazing partner. I have an amazing dog who is literally like my soul and my heart, and I love him so much. I have great family. I have really great quality friends, and overall, I am also just very happy within myself. And I think that that's something that I haven't necessarily been able to say for a while. I feel like, you know, years ago, if you would have asked me that question, I probably would have told you like, yeah, I'm happy. Like I'm so, and I wasn't. And I think looking back, it's evident and apparent to me that I was not. But right now, I am very, truly, genuinely happy. And that makes me ecstatic and it makes me thrilled and it makes me excited for the future because I feel, you know, again, I'm just so content. I'm so at peace with where everything is. And I just feel really excited about what's to come. And again, if you would have asked me a couple years ago, I probably wouldn't have said the same thing, or at least I know I wouldn't have said the same thing, or maybe I would have and I would have just lied about it. But I'm not lying and I'm really happy. Do I have days? Yeah, I think everyone has days. And there's days where I just like want to crawl into a ball and lay in bed and not get out, but it's just because I'm tired. It's not because I'm sad. I definitely feel very happy and I'm very, you know, grateful to be able to say that. So the happiness that you see is genuine. Okay, moving on. Next one. Okay. You have a resting bitch face, but you're very sweet and generous. Well, thank you. I do have a really bad resting bitch face. I always have. I always will. It's just ingrained in me. It's who I am through and through, and I don't see that going away. But I do think, or at least I would like to think, that when you get to know me, I'm very sweet. I'm not going to like, the resting bitch face goes away if I'm talking to someone, but if I'm sitting there and I'm just straight faced, then yeah, you're going to get like that resting bitch face type of feel. But the second you talk to me, I'm not, you know, I like to think that I'm nice. I know I'm nice. Okay, whatever. You get it. Yeah, I have a resting bitch face. Okay, next one. I feel like you're definitely the early bedtime type of girly. Yes and no. I like getting in bed early, but sometimes I don't actually end up going to bed until like 10:30, 11:30, 12. It really just depends. It depends when I've had my last energy drink. If I have like an Alani or an Uptime or a Prime anywhere past through 4 p.m., I'm going to be up until 1. But I like to get in bed. My sweet spot is like 9:30. I love getting in bed at 9:30. It gives me like an hour to watch like whatever show I want to watch. Me and Hayden can sit and just like chit chat or like watch a movie or watch. Right now we're really into Law and Order. So that's what we've been watching, not SVU. We finished all of SVU. So now we're going back and watching Organized Crime. And I love it. I love Stabler. It's just through and through. But I definitely like to get into bed early. I really value sleep. Sleep is very, very important to me. I went to bed last night at, I think, right before 10 o'clock, or maybe it was like 10:15, and woke up this morning at like 8 o'clock. So I'm a sleepy girl. I like my sleep and I don't like things that interrupt it. So the quicker I can get into bed, the better. Hayden and I always joke because we're like, the first thing he says when he wakes up, he's like, I can't wait to get back into bed. Like I can't wait to actually just lay down in bed again because our bed is so comfortable. But anyways, you are right about that. You are very right. Next one, you get Botox. I do get Botox, and I've been getting it for a couple years now. I know it's controversial. I know not everyone, you know, don't get Botox, or, you know, you look like you've had Botox, whatever. I don't care. I like it. Do what you want. But I get it in my forehead, and I also get it like right by my eyes to kind of give myself a little bit of a brow lift. And then I have gotten it in my masseters the past 2 times I've gone. I only get it like once every 4-ish months. I believe the last time I went was in February. So I am due, but I mean, if you look, not a lot of movement. I think we're looking pretty good. So I do get Botox. I have been getting it for a long time. Not a long time, but I think I started when I was like 24 as like preventative stuff. And I know, again, it's controversial. Don't touch your skin. Don't do it. I know. But I do. So you can do what you want. And then when I started doing Botox and stuff, I was really big on filler. Not really big, but I was doing filler. I got jaw filler, I got chin filler. I remember there's a specific episode of Killer Instinct and I filmed it right after I got jaw filler. I looked like handsome Squidward and no one wanted to tell me. I think there were a couple comments like, what did you do to your face? And fair game, fair question, because it wasn't looking too good. It was it was pretty gnarly. And I think that I've stepped away from the filler. I haven't gotten filler since then. I don't have lip filler. I don't have any filler, but Botox I will get. So that is there. Next one, you want a girl as your first child. Truthfully, I don't care. I really don't. I do want to have kids. I know that. Obviously, a healthy baby is top priority. But I mean, girl or boy, it does not matter to me. I'm going to be happy no matter what. And Hayden and I, we talked about this. I believe it was like a week ago or two, no, like a week and a half ago. We had a cute little date night outside. I posted about it on my Thoughts Exactly Instagram page, and a lot of you were commenting on it, and it was really cute. But we were talking a lot about like kids' names, and so we already like have our kids' names are on lock, like those are already there. And girl or boy, I'm ready. I'm not ready right now, but like I will be ready when it happens because I'll have the name. That's what I meant. I'm not ready right now. All right, next one. True crime keeps you up at night. Not really. Honestly, it really doesn't. I talked about this. We did a Q&A. I believe it was, we did a Q&A on Killer Instinct and My Thoughts Exactly, just the Instagram page last week. And that was a big question about, do I get scared? Does this keep me up at night? You know, can I compartmentalize? And I do think that after doing this for so long, I've been doing Killer Instinct since 2019. Like I've been doing it for a long time. That's about 5 years. We've done like 267 episodes, I believe, maybe 271, somewhere in that ballpark. And after doing so many episodes, after, going through the routine of the research and the recording and putting out the episodes, you do get better at compartmentalizing. Did it affect me more in the beginning? Yes. I remember there were several episodes that really affected me, especially in the beginning. I couldn't sleep at night. I had to sleep with the lamp on. I had to sleep with like my ex-boyfriend being on the phone. Like that was definitely a time that it did affect me. But I think that as I've continued to go through it and as I've continued to, do these episodes and continue Killer Instinct, I have gotten a lot better at compartmentalizing. And I think that that's really important when you do something like this, because you don't want it to fully take over and affect your mental state. And that was what it was doing in the beginning. But again, I've done this for a lot longer now, and I've been able to like shut it off. I know when I need to take a break. I know what that boundary is for me. I know when I need to step away. And so because of that, it really does not affect me anymore. I think it also helps that I live with, I don't live alone and I have a giant dog. I think that definitely probably plays a factor into me not being afraid or like being kept up at night. But I remember when I was living alone and I did move into my apartment, that was something that was really important to me, was safety and security, because again, I know too much, I feel like. And so I want to make sure that I'm always safe and I'm always taking the right protocols. And I think that because of Killer Instinct, and because I've researched so many of these cases, safety and security is always my top priority. I always go above and beyond with those things. So that's also a good reassurance that I'm safe and I'm not, keeping myself up at night worried. But again, when I was looking for my apartment, that was something that was really important to me because I was living alone. So I wanted to make sure that wherever I was living was going to be safe and protected. And I did find a place that, had all of those things that I was looking for. And that was really a great, blessing for me. And I was able to move in there and I was able to feel safe. And even when I did live alone, I wasn't scared. So I do think that you get to a point where you start compartmentalizing a lot of this stuff because you have to, you're looking at the worst of the worst things that a human being is doing. You're looking at the worst of the worst things that anyone in this world is capable of. And you need to know when to be able to shut it off. And so it does not keep me up at night anymore. But I do still have that same passion for it, but the passion is not, there's no fear included in that passion. So if that makes sense. All right, next one. You are the type to never stray from, you are the type to never stray from your typical orders at bars and restaurants. This is pretty much true. I think when I go to bars, I have like my go-tos, and it really depends on the type of bar. If it's like a sit-down bar, then I'll do either a glass of wine, like a Sauvignon Blanc or a Pinot Grigio, or I'll do a spicy skinny marg, or I'll do an espresso martini. Like those are pretty much on my rotation. But if I'm going somewhere that's more of like a standing bar, or I'm like, running around, I'm not really like ever running around, but like if it's more crowded and I have to stand, I'll typically just stick with a high noon because it's easy. I like that it's not going to spill. I like that it's in a can. And I like that if someone knocks into me, it's not going to like go all over me, if that makes sense. And they taste pretty good in my opinion. I know some people don't like them, but I definitely do. So those are like my 5 orders that are constantly on rotation. And then if I go to a restaurant, I typically will stick with the things that I know and the things that I like. I think that, yeah, I mean, I feel like that's kind of normal. Like when you go somewhere and you like something, you're going to continue to get it. So that's what I do. And it definitely, it makes me happy. If I go to a restaurant and I know I like something there, I'm probably going to get it again. Unless they have a special or something, I'll probably switch up the appetizer, or else, if I see something else I like, I'll get that too. But I definitely do kind of stick to the same thing. I don't know. I saw that was like a symptom of something. Here's my hypochondriac self going, but that was like I think it was like an anxiety, like a symptom of anxiety, of people getting the same thing because they know what they're going to get, they're going to like. Exhibit A. Okay, next one. I always thought you were super extroverted and a mean girl, but you're the opposite. Guys, I'm not a mean girl. I think that I can kind of understand maybe where that comes from. I think the thing is that you guys think I'm an extrovert, or you guys would think that because I feel like on these episodes, I kind of have to be, and I kind of am. And it's because I feel very comfortable with you guys. I feel like I've been doing social media for so long, and I know I'm talking to you guys, but right now I'm sitting in front of a camera. And so it's easy for me to like show my personality and like not feel super like, tense or anything, because it really is just me sitting here talking to a camera, even though I know it's going to you and I know that you're going to listen to it and watch it. And I love that. And like, I love talking to you guys, but the stress of like having stage fright or like being in front of a crowd isn't there. And so my personality really does shine. Again, also, I think that I've been doing this for so long that I'm not afraid to let my personality come out. In person, I very much am more introverted, like towards my friends, and I would say I'm an introverted extrovert. I am very extroverted towards the people that I'm comfortable with, and I'm very comfortable with you guys. I'm definitely not a mean girl, but like, let's just put that out there very quick. Not a mean girl, not really an extrovert, but an introverted extrovert. That's how I would describe myself. But yeah, no, not a mean girl, but I'm glad that you have been able to kind of, realize that isn't true. That's important to me. So moving on. All right, next one. You miss living in the same house with Jackson. This is so true. If you don't know, Jackson is my brother. He's 2 years younger than me. And when COVID was happening and we were all kind of quarantining and in the same house, Jackson and I became very, very close. Like that was when Jackson and I's relationship really blossomed into like a best friend relationship. And even though COVID was like a horrible, scary time for a lot of people, that is one thing that I'll always be grateful for, is the fact that Jackson and I really got to bond, and like we are very close in age. So our friend groups kind of started crossing over. When Jackson would go out, after COVID, the restrictions were lifted and stuff. When Jackson would go out, like I would go out with him and his friends, and he would come out with me and my friends. And Jackson was my +1 to my high school reunion back like 2 years ago or whatever that was. So Jackson and I have definitely grew into being best friends, and it's something that I'm so, so grateful for. And I love our friendship that we have. It's something that I cherish so much. He truly is my best friend, like through and through. And I definitely miss living in the same house with him. My hope is that he's going to move to Nashville. I do think that will end up happening eventually. I'm keeping my fingers crossed on that one. I give it like 1.5 years, and I would love to just live in the same city as Jackson again, being able to see him whenever I want, being able to like us be around each other, like go out again, or, he has a girlfriend now, so like double dates and things like that. Like that's really important to me. It's the main reason I moved down to Nashville to begin with, is to be more surrounded more by my family. I've told you guys this a bunch of times. I have sisters, nieces, nephews, cousins, aunts, all of it here. So I would love to add Jackson into the mix of that for sure. All right. Let's keep going. Night in girly versus a night out girly. Yeah, I would say so. I would say the thing is I will get my like I will have the feeling every once in a while of like wanting to go out, but right now I'm in my phase of just loving staying in. I talked to you guys about this in last week's episode when we talked about, the what was the title of that episode? I'm blanking right now, but we talked about the importance of saying no and setting boundaries. That was something that we talked about last week, and talking about the fact that when I kept saying yes to everything and when I kept going out all the time, I just craved being able to be at home, being able to spend time at home, and being able to recharge and regroup and reset and all of the things. And so right now I'm definitely in my night in phase and I'm loving it so much. I don't remember the last time that I like went out, and I love that. That makes me so happy. But again, I do go through my phases of like wanting to have a night out or wanting to have a little girls' night. And I'm very grateful that I'm in like a very secure relationship to where Hayden doesn't get weird if that's what I want to do. He's like very encouraging, like go have fun, go be with your girls. And that's something that has always been really important to me in a relationship because it's not something that I've experienced in the past. But I do love being able to have a night out every once in a while. But it's like once I get that fix, I'm like good for like a month. Like I don't need it anymore. So that's how I feel about all of that. But yeah, right now I'm definitely in my night in phase. All right, next one. You will not move back to California and you will raise your family in Nashville. Yeah, this is true. I don't ever plan on moving back to California. I love California. I love that I have family out in California. I love that I have always will have like a landing spot in California and I'll always be able to go back whenever I want. But as far as do I want to be there and like raise my family there? No, I feel like I've really set down solid roots here. I have great friends here. Obviously, this is a great spot for Hayden too, because he has family, about 4 hours away on both sides of us, like 4 hours north and 4 hours south. So they're able to drive up here when they want to as well. And having my family around when I get to the point of starting our own family is very, very important to me. And I just have more family out here. And I want to be able to like have my kids grow up with like my nieces and nephews and like them be all like have cousins and all of the things. And so I will definitely be staying here to raise a family. It's not going to be in this house. Hayden and I, we've talked about the fact that like when we do get married and when we do have kids, that's when we're going to kind of shift into a new house. But this house is amazing and it's really serving its purpose for us right now. We're very, very lucky to have a house that's in such a great location and it's just amazing. But I don't think that I can say confidently, I know that we will not be moving back to California. And I'm very much okay with it. California definitely served its purpose for me. For so many years. I lived there from 2012 to 2021. So do the math, like 10-ish years. Like I'd spent a lot of time in California. And I had been visiting a lot before that because my mom had a lot of family out there. And so I love California. It'll always hold a very special place in my heart. But as far as the future, I want to remain here because again, I just have fallen in love with the South and, having all my family here is really important. So that's that on that. You will become a mommy blogger. Speaking on the topic of kids. No, I won't. I don't think I don't see myself ever really starting like a family channel or being a mommy blogger. Like I haven't even introduced you guys properly or like formally to Hayden. Like he's been on my Instagram and stuff, but I, haven't brought him in. And I know that things will probably change when I have kids. And again, this is like this is in the future. But as of right now, I can really confidently say that I don't see my content really ever switching to being a mommy blogger or like a family channel. I really love the fact that, we've created something so amazing here and I want to keep that momentum going. It's not going to be where I would like, completely shun my kids or whatever away from my channel or social media or like they wouldn't be in the background of things. But as far as like completely recurating my content to being like a family channel or a mommy blogger or starting a new channel, I'm not doing that. So that will not be happening, but I'm also not going to like hide them either. I think that there's a tasteful way to do it. Again, ask me when the time actually comes, my answer might change. Not that I would like be a mommy blogger, but my answer might, adjust a little bit. But yeah, I don't ever see me creating content solely based around my future children. It's just not going to happen. So I hope that answers your question. All right. You won't do story times ever again. This is true to an extent. It's a yes or no, because I feel like story times as I used to do them in the past, I don't think I will ever get back to that. I think that that was very much a 2017 era of YouTube. And as much as I love that era, and as much as that was like my start and where I started, and like we did story times, we did drive with me's. The drive with me's and the playlist videos, they're staying. But as far as story times as I did them in the past, that is not going to be how I will continue. I think if I were to ever do like a story time again, it's going to be here. Like it's going to be on my thoughts exactly. Like that's where the story time is going to be. But as far as like posting a random story time on my YouTube channel, like that's not going to happen again. And I'm okay with that. I really am. I feel like we've graduated. I think that we've evolved. And now if I want to tell a story, I'm going to tell it right here with you guys, you know, on the podcast. And that's how I want to do it. Also, I feel like the stress that I would feel when I would post a story time and I would just wait for the text. I would wait for the text from the person that it was about, who was ready to bitch at me and all of the things. That was just not a fun experience. Not that I really cared, because I definitely I kept doing it. So like it didn't bother me that much, but it was just like, like I don't want to deal with that. So if I have a story time to tell, I'm going to tell it on here. I'm going to tell it with you guys, because that's where I just feel like my content has evolved to. It's not going to be like story time, like, you know, he cheated on me, whatever, like it used to be, and like the clickbaity title and all of that. It's going to be here, and we're going to sit down and we're going to have a proper discussion and a proper story time about all of it. So I will continue to do story times. They're just going to be on here. They're not going to be on, you know, my main channel as they used to be. You can get away with murder. Okay. No, I cannot. And for the simple reason of morally, I would not be able to do that. Morally, I just don't have it in me to be that person. If you're talking about like the technicality of it, because I think that it's very, you know, I think most people, I would like to think most people would be like, oh yeah, I can never get away with murder because I couldn't live with myself. That's how I feel. I would not be able to live with myself. I am an overthinker. I have such a, like, I hit a possum, you guys, on the road the other day, and I cried halfway home, like the entire way home. I was sobbing because I hit this possum and I felt so bad. Oh my God. I'm like getting like flashbacks of it hitting my car, and it was so traumatic and horrible. And I felt so bad. It made me so sad. So no, I would not be able to kill a human. That is just not happening. So yeah, no, I don't think I would be able to get away with it, and I don't want to get away with it. I really don't. I think the question more, and like the assumption is probably more like, oh, because I do true crime, I do Killer Instinct and all of these things, I would know how to do it. I think I know a lot about how people kill people. It's a weird, you know, it's not a flex. It's just like a weird thing. It's weird knowledge to know. I know a lot about the topic. I know a lot about the subject matter. I have a lot of knowledge when it comes to this. However, just for so many other factors, I don't think so. I can confidently say no. No, I would not be able to get away with it. No, I don't want to get away with it. Do I know a lot about how people do these things? Yes. Do I have a lot of knowledge? Yes. Will I be using that knowledge? No. So I hope that answers the question there. Okay, moving on. You were an extrovert when you were younger, but with age, you've become an introvert. Actually, it is more of the opposite. I was so much more of an introvert when I was younger. I was so much more shy. I was the person that, like, I remember in 8th grade, we all would like sit at lunch with our friends, and I would sit there and I would not speak a single word. I had like this one friend growing up who was like my really, really close friend, and then she moved away. And when she moved away, I like stayed in the friend group that she was in, and I was really only in this friend group because of her. And I remember sitting at lunch for like a year or two afterwards, and I would sit there and I would not say a single word because I had so much social anxiety and I was very much shy and an introvert. And then moving on, like when I went to California and I started all these different high schools, I think through that I kind of got to be a little bit more extroverted because I kind of had to be. I went to 4 different high schools in my high school career, and I went to 2 of them my sophomore year I was in one my freshman year and then changed again my junior year and then graduated at that one. And I think once I got to my junior year, I was a little bit more extroverted because I had already gone to so many different high schools. And I will say that over time, I have grown to be a little bit more extroverted. Like if you would have asked me when I was in like my freshman year of high school, I would have said I was an introvert through and through. Now, as I said earlier, I am more of an introverted extrovert. Once I feel comfortable around you, that extroverted side will come out, but it just takes a little bit of warming up because I think that I still have those introverted qualities and I still am that like shy girl, at heart, but it just takes me a minute to warm up. And then once I do, I'm good. But that's kind of how I have evolved over time. So instead of being an extrovert, that's more of an introvert, it's the opposite now. I'm more of an introverted extrovert. You are an amazing budgeter and saver. By the way, love you and your pods. Well, thank you. I love you too. I will say yes. I am very good at saving. I've had a savings account for a while. I'm very good at, maintaining that and building on that. So I have been very good in that regard. I'm a Capricorn and like we're really good at that kind of stuff when it comes to like money and finances and organizing and saving and budgeting and all of those things. So I don't know if it's because of that or what it really is, but I definitely am very conscious when it comes to what I'm spending. I will say that like I will spend money. Like I'm not someone who's like not going to spend money. I will spend, but I'll like pick and choose where I want to spend my money. Like if I'm going on a vacation, I'm going to spend money. And I'm going to spend money to like stay at the places that I want to stay at and do the things that I want to do, because I do think that like vacations are experiences, and those are the types of things that are like, you just do them. Like do them. The money will come back. Like just do the experience for the experience. But when it comes to like little things and like stupid things, I don't really spend my money on those. I like to spend my money on dinners with like my friends or with Hayden or, whoever, if I want to like treat my family or whatever it is. Those are the types of things that I like to spend money on. But like, and I will say, I do believe in retail therapy. So every once in a while, I'll have a retail therapy moment. But other than that, I'm pretty good at knowing what I'm spending, knowing where to stay within my limits. And that is something that I would say I'm pretty aware of. And again, I don't know if it's a Capricorn thing or what. It probably is a little bit of both. Next one says that you're getting married within the year. I definitely won't be getting married within the year, but I would put money on the fact, if we're just like being, okay, you guys can't tell anyone, but if we are just being like, girl chatting here, I do think that I'm going to get engaged within the year for sure. I think I'll be engaged by the end of this year. That's crazy, you guys. That is a crazy thing to say out loud. Oh my gosh. That is nuts. I am really excited for it. It's so funny. Like growing up when I was in high school and college and a little bit like the 1 year I was in college. When I say college, I mean like my college years, like the age frame. I remember I was talking to some of my friends and I would speak to them and I'd be like, I don't want to get married. Like, I don't want to get married. I don't want to have kids. And I remember my friends, I remember one in particular would get so frustrated because he was like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean you don't want to get married? What do you mean you don't want to have kids? And I think that I just never saw, like, I always wanted to be a mom growing up. And then once I got to like a certain age, there's a really loud bird outside. But once I got to a certain age, that desire kind of went away. I think that I was just really unhappy. I think that I didn't see anyone that I could see that kind of future with. And now that I have someone who I'm so content with, so happy with, someone who makes me feel so safe and secure, and someone who also really wants those things, it makes it very exciting for me. And now I can't wait to like get married and enter that chapter. I can wait, but I'm like excited for that chapter is what I'm trying to say. So like that to me is all very exciting things. It makes me excited for the future. And yeah, I do think that I will be getting engaged by the end of this year because Hayden and I have talked about it. Like we've been very vocal with each other about it. We were very open about really everything, but especially this. Like we've gone engagement ring shopping together. We still need to go like one more time, but we've done the engagement ring shopping. We've talked about like what kind of wedding we would want. We know that we don't really want a super long engagement. So those are the kind of the conversations that we're having. And I do know that just through things that I have heard and conversations that Hayden and I have had, that it probably is going to happen by the end of the year. And then I probably will get married. I don't know. I don't really know. But yeah, I'm excited, and I can't wait to like share that chapter with you guys as well. I feel like that's going to be such a cool era to go through with you guys and be able to document it all and be able to talk about it and just talk about my feelings surrounding everything and all of the things. So I do think that I'll get engaged by the end of the year. I don't think I'll be married in a year, but who knows? Check back in a year. Check back in a year. You are super bubbly. It depends on what day. Sometimes I do have like the very bubbly attitude. I think I've grown into that more as I've gotten older, but there are days where I just don't want to talk. Sometimes I just don't want to speak. Sometimes I just want to sit in silence, and sometimes I'm not like super overly energetic or bubbly. If it's when I don't recharge, we talked about this last week, when I don't take the time to like recharge my social battery, I just, I'm not the most bubbly person. Sometimes I like to be sitting in silence and just not talk and recharge, and then I'll be able to be bubbly again. But I do think that over the years, I have gotten a little bit more bubbly. I love that word. I think it's so fun. You like a digital planner versus a paper planner? No, I like a paper planner over a digital planner. I like to have both, but I like the feeling of a paper planner. Okay, and we're going to end with this one. It says that you are a Christian. Okay, it's very interesting because growing up, I really never grew up in a very religious family. I grew up being Christian, and like I knew that that's, what my family was, and inherently that's what I was. And I still am. And I feel like there was a period of time where, like I said, I didn't really grow up in a religious family. I wasn't really going to church ever. I definitely didn't have my faith wasn't something that was incredibly prominent in my household growing up. My dad definitely did go to church more than any of us. But I mean, even he didn't go like very often. He went on Easter, and we would go on Easter, and then my dad would go on Christmas Eve by himself typically. But I didn't grow up in a super religious household, but I always knew that, we believed in God, and that was very important to us, but it wasn't something that we were like, practicing or going to church for, or, it just wasn't very prominent is what I'm trying to get at. And then when I moved to California, same thing. I think it was even less then. Like, again, we all believe in God in my family, and, we all knew that that was something that was a part of our life, but it wasn't a big part of our life. It was just kind of like there. And now that I've moved to Nashville, obviously the South is a more religious area, and just in general, and Nashville in particular, and not Nashville in particular, I shouldn't say that, but in comparison to, San Diego and California where I grew up, the comparison of Nashville in particular, it's definitely more religious and, faith-based than how I was raised. And I will say, having been here for a while now and having, how do I say this? Having been here for a while now, I will say that I have seen a lot more religion. I've seen it being more at the forefront of people's lives than I ever have before. I've seen it being practiced more than I ever have before. And it is something that I want to get more involved in myself. I know that I do want to do that. It is something that is more and more important to me as I'm getting older. I think that I always knew religion was a little bit of a gray area for me for a while because I didn't grow up in a very religious household, I really didn't know what I believed for a while. And now that I'm, growing older and having my own independent thoughts, and I'm able to kind of choose how I want to go, or if I want to go at all with any path when it comes to religion, I've learned for myself it is something that I want to explore more, and it is something that I want to get more involved in. Now, Hayden grew up in a religious family. They went to church every Sunday. I mean, his mom she plays an instrument in the church every Sunday still. And it was something that was a lot more prominent in his life. So him and I have had many conversations about wanting to involve that in our lives. It's just a matter of finding the right place that's comfortable for me as someone who's not super, heavily involved or has never been super heavily involved. It's important that I feel comfortable for my sake, and Hayden wants to make sure that I feel comfortable too. And he also wants to find a place that it keeps up with the values that he was raised with. It's a lot of gray area for us personally. And we're just trying to navigate it as best as we can. What we do know is that we do believe in God. We are Christians, and that is something that is important to us. But we're still trying to navigate what that looks like, because I do think it looks different for everyone. And whether you do believe or you don't, or you practice a totally separate religion, it's just kind of a journey that you have to go on your own. And you need to really figure out what sits right with you and what feels best for you. I will never knock anyone for believing anything, whatever religion that you want to practice, whatever you want to believe in, that is totally your right and your belief. And just as much as it is my right and my belief to, find out what that looks like for me. So I'm still kind of on my journey when it comes to religion. That is the long story short answer. Just to kind of sum it all up, I'm still on my journey of what that looks like for myself, and I'm still trying to navigate that as best as I can. And I know that it is something that I want to continue with, and it is something that I want to explore more. And as I'm getting older, it is important for me to do that. It's just for my own sake. It's just something that I want to, incorporate in my life. And I'm very, I'm happy about that. It makes me excited for the future. So that is where I stand on religion as of right now. It's a process, but we're navigating. And that, you guys, is going to be the end of today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this assumptions episode of My Thoughts Exactly. And if you are new here, or if you've just not already, make sure you go ahead and subscribe. That way you never miss an episode. We post weekly here every single Friday. You're not going to want to miss it. I will be back next week with a brand new one for you guys, and I will see you there. Bye, guys.